Hello everyone, Jill here. Playing a game by yourself every single time is just so depressing. Sometimes we need some quality time with the boys or girls to relieve our stress. So I thought to myself, maybe I will share some of the best PC co-op games that you can play with your friends. Or perhaps helping you to get a new friend. Imagine having no friends in 2022. Alright then, let's get started. Though plenty of other games offer cooperative gameplay against mobs of enemies, no other game emphasizes teamwork as strongly as this. Though the game is so old now, but the experience of surpassing the challenge is just evergreen. If you are yet to play this game with your friends and were always curious to try it out, then by all means get this game. Even if you and the boys are veterans, this game is actually still gives you a lot of fun to play in 2022. World War Z Aftermath is the ultimate co-op zombie shooter and the next evolution of the original game. Turn the tide of the zombie apocalypse with up to 3 friends or play on your own with AI teammates against hordes of zombies in intense story episodes across new locations around the world. It is best that you play these games with your friends because the matchmaking most of the time is just taking too long. Other than that, the game is casually fun and challenging. Remnant from the Ashes is a third-person Souls-like game set in a procedurally generated post-apocalyptic nightmare, and it's refreshingly engaging. It is really hard to emphasize just how much better Remnant is when you are playing co-op versus single player. With drop-in drop-out functionality, finding a game is easy even if you have no friends. Progress is made only in the host game world, but you keep everything you get while playing there. Killing Floor 2 is a fast, fun co-op shooter with cool classes, satisfying guns, and aggressive, grotesque enemies, all doused in fitting heavy metal music. All these classes are distinct enough and fun to play. Putting together a good team has a huge impact on whether you will succeed. Its lack of modes and bosses will eventually turn away anyone but the most dedicated of fans. But its foundation is so fun and rock solid that even if you only plan on playing for a few weeks with your friends, there's plenty here to enjoy. Wildlands is not a very good Ghost Recon game. It's been so long since the series had a proper mainline entry that many have probably forgotten what they used to be like. However, it doesn't mean that Wildlands is a bad game. Those expecting a squad-based tactical shooter should try this game, especially with your friends. You are given the freedom to execute your objectives however you please, and there are plenty of tools to complement your chosen playstyle. The plot is shallow at best, but the co-op explorations are actually fun and enjoyable.
Looks like we've riled them up.
Warhammer Vermintide 2 is a gorgeous game with tons of fun playstyles and customization options to uncover. The elite enemies also shake things up a bit, and there are a surprising number of different ones you can encounter. Many of them can single out isolated allies, thus forcing you to play as a team. Even though most of the loot you earn for your effort is a letdown, thankfully you don't need to pay much attention to it to simply enjoy the Left 4 Dead inspired co-op fun of smashing hordes of rats and zombies to a pulp. Risk of Rain 2 is a roguelike that less concerned with where you're going than the loot you pick up along the way. Each character with widely different playstyles and items that suit them best has its own satisfying exploits. The game is also encourage you to play with your friends, not only because of the reward and scaling are better in multiplayer, but killing hordes of monsters alone is just too tedious at times. Last Epoch seems like another wannabe dungeon crawler RPG, but it's not. The gameplay reveals plenty of similarities with Path of Exile or Diablo 3, which means extra complexity regarding character builds and skill trees. The gameplay stays fairly paced, pack of enemies also stay balanced and challenging, enemy AI are strategic and combine their synergies effectively to defeat you. And just like all the best Diablo-like games, the game also provides a co-op feature, though it's not yet applied to the game at its current state, but it's getting closer. Hopefully, in early 2022, we can experience the multiplayer experience. Don't Starve Together is fun with friends, be it competitive carnage or cooperative construction. It retains many of the aspects we saw in the original single-player experience, a unique and quirky art style combined with a unique survival gameplay experience. The dark is as dangerous as ever, your only hope is the sparse campfires that you're able to build to delaying your inevitable death. So what are you waiting for? Go start campfires with your friends and clowning around. When No Man's Sky launched in August of 2016, it was met with a mixed reception. However, over time, it has changed for the better, as each new update has brought a new feature or fix to further improve the game. One of the biggest of these changes was the addition of multiplayer. Bringing co-op to the once vast and empty universe of the game had a huge impact. Having another pair of hands to help you mining or someone to watch your back when you are out in the wild makes the journey more enjoyable. Gunfire Reborn doesn't do anything new, but somehow it does feel like a smart, deliberately slick game with the goal of making you feel strong and powerful without wasting too much time. All you gotta do is just enter a room, shoot all the enemies, and repeat. Combat is also kinda similar to Borderlands. There's a lot of dancing around the arena to dodge grenades or melee attacks, while constantly changing weapons to conserve your bullets and taking care enemies at varying distances. Overall, if you're looking for something that goes down smooth with a complex finish, Gunfire Reborn is an easy recommendation. The game starts out like most survival games, with the exception that dinosaurs are constantly trying to eat you. You will spawn on one of many beaches around the map, each with their own level of difficulty. However, the real adventure starts when you go deeper into the map. There are supply drops, giant floating structures, holiday events, bosses, and much more across the world. In terms of the sheer amount of content, Ark is most definitely worth playing. As the name states, this game is all about the grim undead, witchcraft, sorcery, demons, knights, and everything in between, all wrapped up in loads of gory gameplay. The animations and graphics are a bit rough, but the gameplay makes up for it tenfold. The developers have done a great job at the level progression, giving you that satisfaction of distributing skill points and unlocking new abilities often enough, while not making it too fast either. Grim Dawn offers a ton of content and customization as you travel through the dark world filled with varied type of monsters. This is a must-have for any fan of the Diablo-like action RPG genre. Nioh 2 Complete Edition includes all of the content from Nioh 2 along with its DLC expansions. Set in feudal Japan, the story in Nioh 2 combines a wonderful blend of real historical events and mythical fiction. As well as single player, there are multiplayer and co-op player modes for this game, which makes the grinding process a lot better, and seeing how your different builds synergize with each other to take on difficult challenges is just a wonderful experience. Finally, a great tactical shooter game that makes you feel like a badass SWAT member. The game provides a great sense of teamwork, especially if you play with friends, though it can also be fun to run solo and use the AI as fodder. You can easily lose the objective if you are not sharp enough to read the enemy's movements and decisions. Even if the game is still on early access, Ready or Not is a must-have for any tactical shooter fans. While it's entirely playable as a single-player game, Dying Light is like most things better with friends along. Your partners can jump in at any time to help you exterminate zombies, watch your back while you're picking locks or completing missions. The online connections are somehow smooth and stable once they get going, making it an enjoyable experience when you play with friends. Its main story is unspectacular, but the memorable side quests and sheer fun of exploring its world do a fantastic job of offsetting that. Deep Rock Galactic is the best kind of 4-player co-op game. The combat is fast and exciting, with tons of interesting synergies to find between the distinct playable classes. The objectives on the various missions are wide-ranging enough to keep things interesting, but straightforward enough that a new player could drop in and get the hang of it pretty quickly. You can absolutely have a blast and find success with a level 1 character, but there are tons of room to develop your skills and customize your look if you're willing to put in the time. Some people love Diablo 3 for its story, but that doesn't really matter all that much, because the story merely serves as a way to tie together the various dungeons and quests in your hunt for gear. It's easy to get so wrapped up in the pursuit of treasure, talking about the benefits of your next loot or how awesome your character will look like. The game is already old enough by now, and there isn't much new content for veterans to enjoy. But for new players, this game is definitely a blast to play, especially with friends. And who knows what Diablo 4 might bring in the future.
I have to act now. But you and
Warframe is an ever-evolving game, and it can be disorienting to jump back into the game after a break because of this. The learning curves of the game is really steep at first, and maybe the weakest point of the game is that the players are somehow need to figure it out by themselves. Luckily, there are a lot of YouTubers that you can learn from, so make sure to check them out. Once you bypass all of that, then suddenly the overwhelming aspect of the game becomes the addicting experience that you don't want to stop. The grinding is tedious at times, but the rewards makes it worth it in the end. While this series has always had extremely strong cooperative elements, Borderlands 3 does an excellent job at giving you even more options for playing with friends. Cooperative mode is the most group-friendly, as it instances everyone's loot and the enemy levels scale against the individual players. A level 5 player can join up with a level 50 player, which makes it very convenient to play with your friends. Overall, it's easily one of the best looter shooters in existence, especially in co-op. Unlike the story, killing dozens of intricately designed monsters has a point. There is no leveling up and skill point allocation in Monster Hunter, so crafting armor and weapons is the only way to permanently buff your stats. Of course, one of the best features to playing the game is that you can hunt monsters with a party of 4 people. Makes it an enjoyable experience when you're fighting monsters that are too hard to defeat on your own. Overall, this is a game that will make you spend countless hours, so make sure to not upsetting your girlfriend. Where Terraria really sets itself apart is the character development, and being able to progress your character with health and mana upgrades as well as amazing equipment. World crafting and character building aside, the one unique aspect about Terraria is the random events that can occur. While you are peacefully gathering some iron or actively pursuing some slime mobs, out of nowhere you stumble into boss battle, goblin invasions, and even meteorite crashes. You can experience this game alone, but I highly recommend playing this game with as many people as possible. Path of Exile is a hack-and-slash RPG that keeps evolving every year. The plot doesn't matter, it's something about an exile fighting against hordes of demons with varied builds that you discover throughout your experience with the game. The best part of the game is how you can play the whole story with up to 4 friends. And what makes it even better, there are no money gates on Path of Exile. Every new expansion, leak and patch they release is free for anyone. Divinity Original Sin 2 has a huge story campaign with over 80 hours of gameplay. Surprisingly, it can be played in single player or in co-op mode with up to 4 players. On the PC, the game will support up to 2 players locally using game controllers. The title will also support 4-player combo co-op, meaning 2 local players can be joined online by 2 other players. This is essentially a tabletop RPG style experience within a video game. Go anywhere you want, kill anyone, find endless ways to solve problems, and gather your ultimate RPG party. Destiny 2 remains a stellar first-person shooter on PC even today. The game overall is also in an excellent place right now, with a lot of rewarding content available to dive into, tons of great weapons and armor to chase after, and plenty of options for builds. The story is better than ever as well thanks to excellent character writing and the use of several effective storytelling mechanisms. The new and returning player catch-up systems could still use some work, but recent improvements have made getting into Destiny easier than ever. Alright boys, I think that's it for today. There are actually other cool and great co-op games out of this list, but in my opinion, this is like the most fresh and captivating games that I've played recently with my friends. I know you have your own opinions, so why not share it? Tell us your best co-op games in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss another great list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace.